Good evening and welcome. We'll get to the politics of it all and our correspondence with the candidates in these final days of the presidential race in just a moment. But we start with the controversy over violent imagery evoked by Donald Trump during an event in Arizona last evening in which he said his foe, former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney, would not be such a war hawk if she had, quote, guns trained on her face. Mr. Trump saying, let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her. Trump today saying he was only pointing out that Cheney hasn't had to face the consequences of war. But given the dark imagery of his words last night, it makes you wonder if those same words were spoken by a 14-year-old online or in a classroom or by a coworker in the workplace. Would alarm bells be sounding tonight? We'll have more about all this, including Ms. Cheney's response, as we turn now to the campaign trail. With 4 days to go, the race entering its final weekend. Here are the itineraries that will carry Vice President Harris and former President Trump across the swing states this weekend, each in search of a path to 270 electoral votes and the presidency. Here's Peter Alexander.
Tonight, Vice President Harris is hoping the road to the White House goes through Wisconsin.
We knock on doors, know how to text and call folks.
Immediately upon landing here, sharply criticizing former President Trump for his comments last night about former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney.
He has increased his violent rhetoric, in great detail suggested rifles should be trained on former Representative Liz Cheney. This must be disqualifying.
Trump in Arizona went after Cheney, arguing she would not favor war if she was sent to the front lines.
She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face. You know, they're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, oh, gee, let's send 10,000 troops right into the mouth of the enemy.
Cheney responding this morning, this is how dictators destroy free nations. They threaten those who speak against them with death, adding, we cannot entrust our country and our freedom to a petty, vindictive, cruel, unstable man who wants to be a tyrant. Cheney, who after January 6th vowed to stop Trump from returning to power and was defeated in her Republican primary, recently campaigned with Harris.
You cannot trust him. We've seen the man that he is.
Trump today offering a rare clarification, writing, all I'm saying about Liz Cheney is that she is a war hawk and a dumb one at that.
I think that Liz Cheney is a disaster. All she wants to do is blow people up. If you ever put her into the field of battle, she'd be the first one to chicken out. She wouldn't fight. She'd chicken out so fast.
Harris's team argues Trump's inflammatory language about his political opponents crosses a line and fits a dangerous pattern.
His rhetoric has grown more extreme, and he is even less focused than before on the needs and the concerns and the challenges facing the American people.
And Peter, we're getting another reminder tonight of just how close this race is and the critical battleground that you're in right now, Wisconsin.
Lester, you're right. The last presidential contest here came down to 20,000 votes out of more than 3 million cast. Biden won it then. And tonight, these two candidates are both converging on Milwaukee for dueling rallies just 7 miles apart. Lester.
Okay, Peter Alexander, thank you. Now to the Trump campaign, focusing on those so-called blue wall states and facing new criticism from Vice President Harris over former President Trump's vow to have Robert F. Kennedy Jr. take a central role on health care policy. Garrett Haake spoke with Trump late today.
Tonight, former President Trump working to crash through Democrats' so-called blue wall.
But this is all you need to know. Kamala, who's grossly incompetent, broke it. I will fix it. We're going to fix it. We're going to fix it quickly.
Campaigning in battleground Michigan.
I will end inflation. I will stop the invasion of criminals pouring into our country. And I will bring back the American dream.
Earlier, stopping at an Arab-owned restaurant in Dearborn.
Please let us welcome Mr. Donald J. Trump.
He's working to peel off Arab and Muslim voters upset over the Biden-Harris administration's handling of the war in the Mideast. It comes as Harris is amping up her attacks on Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has endorsed Trump and was traveling with him today. Trump praising him.
How good was Bobby Kennedy Jr.? He's going to take care of women's health and men's health.
Harris slamming Trump today.
He has indicated that the person who would be in charge of health care for the American people is someone who has routinely promoted junk science and crazy conspiracy theories.
We pressed Trump about the vice president's criticism.
She just said that she thinks he's the last person in America that should be involved in health care planning. How do you respond?
Well, that's because they've lost him. He was a Democrat all his life, and they've lost him, and they're very unhappy about it. And I think they're very unhappy about their poll numbers because she is sinking like a dead ship. He is a great guy. I've known him a long time. And all he wants to do is very simply, he wants to make people healthier.
Though health experts have criticized Kennedy's debunked claims drawing links between vaccines and autism.
You're comfortable with his views on vaccines, Mr. President?
We'll be talking about a lot of things, but he's going to have a big role in health care, a very big role. He knows it better than anybody. He's got some views that I happen to agree with very strongly, and I have for a long time.
It comes as NBC News obtained video of House Speaker Mike Johnson talking about health care reform.
We're going to fix
No Obamacare?
No Obamacare. Yeah, the ACA is so deeply ingrained. We need massive reform.
Harris accusing Trump of wanting to end the Affordable Care Act.
Be very clear that among the stakes in this election are whether we continue with the Affordable Care Act or not.
Johnson telling NBC News he, quote, offered no such promise to end Obamacare and in fact acknowledged that the policy is deeply ingrained in our health care system. Trump firing back overnight.
She says, I want to end Obamacare, affordable health, okay? Now, I never said that. If we got something better, I would do it. But if we got something better, I'd do it. But I never said I'm going to end it.
After Thursday's surprising stop in New Mexico to court Latinos, Trump will make another appearance in a non-battleground state tomorrow, Virginia, which his campaign is hoping to put in play. Lester?
Garrett Haake, thank you. Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.